Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. It is 6:01. Time to begin our April 19th meeting. At this time, we'll call ourselves to order. And we have some recognitions tonight. On the first item is the proclamation honoring the Aquatic Center. This time, I'll turn it over to Kathy Henderson.
Good evening, Council. For the second time in 3 months, our Aquatic Center staff have saved the life of another one of our members. I didn't think I would be back in front of you quite so soon. Honestly, it's a very nerve-wracking thing for my heart to have this have happened a second time. But proudly, I am back in front of you because another life has been saved. On February the 1st, a 51-year-old member was running on our indoor running track and collapsed. Several of our staff responded to the emergency, and when we arrived on the scene, Mr. Wall, who I hope would be here tonight but so far hasn't arrived, was unconscious and not breathing. 2 of our employees provided the life-saving skills necessary to save his life. Sheila Mobley, one of our RNs provided to us by Novant Health, administered CPR and eventually used the defibrillator to shock his heart, while Cindy Lisk, our aquatics director, gave rescue breathing to Mr. Wall. Much like last time, by the time rescue got on scene, Mr. Wall was breathing and conscious again. I'm very grateful and happy to be alive. Mr. Anthony Wall has recently returned to the center, and I hoped that he would be here tonight. I have a feeling that he might be looking for us, but he hoped to be here tonight, but he has been so gracious and grateful to the people that helped save his life that night. And like I say, he is back exercising at the center, and after having heart surgery and a stent put in, he's good and exercising without any conditions. So at this time, I'd like to turn it over to the mayor. Sheila Mobley, come up. This is Sheila. And Cindy Lisk.
Get this stuff on this way. Well, good evening again, everyone. It's a pleasure for me to come before you, and most particularly on the afternoon of this, when we can honor our employees and know that we're in good hands at the Aquatic Center. And this is not the first time we did this, and that's great. I'm glad that we can come back another time. I hope we don't never have to come back, but if we do, I hope it's in the same format. So thank you, ladies, for what y'all doing. It's our honor to honor y'all for what you've done. And certainly we want to present you a proclamation tonight, but first I would like to read. Would you like your husband to come up, Mr. Monroe? Oh, you do the picture taking, that's fine, whatever you'd like to do. If there's anyone here with y'all who'd like to have come up, it's certainly okay. So, proclamation honor, you 2 ladies, whereas Sheila Mobley served the city of Monroe through a partnership with Novant Health as a nurse at the Monroe Aquatics and Fitness Center, and Cindy Lisk as the aquatic director. Whereas while working at the Aquatics Fitness Center on February 1st, 2016, Sheila and Cindy were called to the walking track to assist a member who had suffered a heart attack and was not breathing. And whereas upon assessing the situation, Sheila administered CPR and AED, and Cindy began to administer rescue breathing. Whereas Sheila and Cindy's leadership and application of life-saving skills were directly responsible for saving the life of the Aquatic and Fitness Center member. Whereas Sheila and Cindy are an asset to the city of Monroe and the Monroe Aquatic Center and Fitness Center, and their actions were in keeping with high professional and responsible standards set forth by the city of Monroe. Therefore, I, Bobby Kilgore, Mayor of the City of Monroe, North Carolina, on behalf of the City Council, do hereby express our sincere gratitude and call upon all the citizens of the City of Monroe to join us in honoring these life-saving acts of heroism. In witness here, I have hereunto set my hand and caused the seal of the city of Monroe to be fixed this 19th of April, 2016. Congratulations again, and thank you all so much for all your work. And maybe this is yours. I know you have somebody to hold on here. Thank you so much. And I believe you work with these ladies. I'm very embarrassed. I'm trying to see your name, Elaine.
I think.
Yeah.
I'm on purpose.
Yeah, I know that. That's why I said I was embarrassed. I was looking for your name.
Oh, yeah, I do.
But yeah, I know that. But we want to bring you and welcome you too, because I know that you work with these ladies out here and do a lot through Know That Help. And we appreciate what you folks do, and we appreciate what all you folks do out there, because it's very appropriate to say thank you for what you do. And I know if you're out there, the folks are in good hands, and that's what our and who people who come to the Aquatic Center want to know, are we in good hands? And I think they know about what we do when we recognize you folks. So Kathy, thank you for what you do. Thank you all of you folks. And once again, congratulations.
Thank you.
And that will take us to the consent agenda. Larry?
Yes, Mayor, members of the City Council, the consent agenda is used by City Council to consider items that are non-controversial and routine. The consent agenda is acted upon by one motion and the vote of council. Items may be removed from the consent agenda and placed on the regular agenda at the request of a council member or citizen with the consent of council. The consent agenda contains the following items. Item 3 is approval and acceptance of minutes and reports, and there are 8 sets of minutes lettered A through H. Item 3I is financial reports for March 2016. Just as a brief synopsis, the unassigned fund balance totals $7.3 million, and the total fund balance totals a bit more than $27 million as of March 31st, 2016. Item 3J is summary of contracts awarded, change orders approved, and city manager's settlement of claims. There were no claims settled during this period. The number of contracts awarded for the period are 25, totaling $560,000 in change. Item 4 under consent is for the purpose of calling for 5 public hearings to be held on May 3rd. The first of which is for considering the use of community development block grant funds from the North Carolina Department of Commerce and the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development. The next 3 calls for public hearings involve zoning map amendments. The first is for property located at 2424 Ashcraft Avenue from General Industrial GI to Conditional District CD, Carlovers LLC. The second of those are called public hearings is for property located at 2116 North Rocky River Road from General Business to Conditional District for Hess Tire and Auto Service. The third called public hearing for property located at the corner of Venus Street and Sutton Place from residential multifamily to conditional district. This is for Aaron Field at Sutton Place. The last of the 5 called public hearings is for a zoning text amendment to section 156.224 titled Amendments of Unified Development Ordinance to modify language regarding protest petitions. The 5th item under consent is for the purpose of reporting to council the amount of refunds and releases created by a change or reduction in property value as determined by the Dean County tax assessor, which totaled $11,832.44 for the period. That concludes the summary of items placed on the consent agenda.
Motion to approve.
I will second.
Second.
All in favor? Any opposed? Okay. Item 6, proposed amendment, section 3.1 of the city charter by changing city elections method to plurality method pursuant to North Carolina General Statutes 163-292 at public hearing only. Is anyone here who would like to speak in favor? Hearing none. Anyone who would like to speak in opposition? Hearing none, we'll close.
Mayor.
Yes, sir.
I have one.
comments I would like to make.
Okay, yeah.
Mayor, if I could, before Councilmember Jordan makes the comment, I want to make one thing clear that I advise council. You are not voting on this tonight. This is merely the public hearing.
Right.
And so comments, of course, Councilmember Jordan's comments are entirely appropriate at this point, but I want to make sure everyone is aware there is no vote tonight. As the public hearing has taken place, and then Councilmember Jordan will make his comments, then any other council member. The plan is to have this on the May 3 agenda for consideration, unless council advises otherwise.
Okay.
I just want to make sure that's clear, and then I'll turn it back over to you, Mayor, to turn over to
Okay,
Councilmember
Mr.
Jordan.
Jordan.
Okay, very good. Mayor, it appears that this issue was brought before us in order to correct a change in our method of elections that have preceded the way that we do our elections now. And there was nothing that could be found by the city attorney, and I talked with our Board of Elections, and it appears that this is the way Monroe has always held its elections. It's held them at a different time of the year now. For instance, in 1971, they had an April primary and a May election. 1969, same thing, the April primary, May election. 67, 65 is the same way, April primary and May elections. I went back and looked at what we used to have to do in order to change our method of election, or even have to in order to do major annexations. And under Section 5, we had to go through pre-clearance. And during pre-clearance, there had to be evidence that whatever we were going to do with regard to elections or with regard to changing our boundaries, bringing in more people in the city, that it could not cause a retrogression of a minority group. In my opinion, what we are getting ready to do, should we do it, is reduce the voting strength of the black community. And again, if we were going through pre-clearance, that would be questioned by the U.S. Department of Justice. Whenever elected bodies do not reflect the makeup of its population in totality, it sometimes allows the elected bodies to forget about the different kinds of issues that minority groups and other groups in this city may face. And I've been drawn to what happened with Michael Brown in Ferguson, Missouri, and to Sandra Bland in Waller County, Texas, and to Trayvon Martin in Sanford, Florida. All of those cities, prior to their incidents that happened that I just mentioned, were doing well as far as they were concerned with serving their populations. And since these incidents, they have come under scrutiny by the Justice Department and sometimes local jurisdictions about how they conduct their business. I took a look at what has happened here in Monroe that would have caused Monroe to be a part of Section 5 of the Voting Rights Act. And because all of North Carolina was not a part of the Section 5 of the Voting Rights Act, there were some places that were excluded from it. And I looked at some of Monroe's past, such as in the 50s, the Kissing case, and in the 50s also some of the Freedom Rider marches that went on in Monroe. And I was reminded as well that when I got old enough to start moving around on my own, that Monroe had a school, a segregated school in the city that Council Member Saluda Anthony graduated from. Monroe had back doors and back windows that people would have to go to in order to pick up their food. The black community could not go and sit down in most of the restaurants in town. We, at some point in time, I guess in the 50s as well, had to go into the basement of Belts to do our shopping because we were not allowed to shop up on the main floor. We had to go to the upstairs balcony of the Center Theater in order to be served. And I mentioned this just to remind people that Monroe, just 50 years ago, was going through some trying times. And things have gotten better, I think. I was looking at how Monroe has served me over the years and looked at some of the challenges I've faced over the years as well. In the 70s, when I returned home from the service and went to purchase a home, and I had a realtor helping me, found a home that we purchased, and come to find out later that we got the deal we got, or we were basically shown properties that we were shown. My wife and I were shown properties we were shown because of steering and blockbusting. I can remember when we moved over that area, there were probably 4 or 5 police officers that lived very close to that vicinity where we lived. And it wasn't very long that they had moved out of the neighborhood. In the 80s, as I became a realtor, there were properties or neighborhoods in Monroe still that had not been integrated, and it was still very difficult in some cases to show properties and sell properties in some neighborhoods in Monroe. In the 90s, my son started driving, and he was often stopped for DWB, just driving while blind. I can remember him wanting to take one of his female friends to the movie theater in Monroe right here over by the Harris Teeter. And his mother and I would not allow him to put her in his car and drive her over there. She had to meet him there because we were afraid of what someone might attempt to do to him. And again, you know, we've had some gains. We've had challenges along the way. We were very fortunate just 10 years after the Civil Rights Act to elect the first black person to the Monroe City Council in 1975. We elected Mr. Mann, and he served until '81 when Mr. Bazemore, I think, was elected. And because Monroe holds its elections in October, we are able to stay away from national media events that are associated with November elections. People that come out to a November election, they are concerned about Monroe issues. They are not concerned about your right to bear arms. They are not concerned about abortion rights. They are not concerned about which bathroom you go in. They are concerned about what are you going to do to serve me as a citizen of Monroe. And that's why I think it's very important that we leave our elections October so that we can continue to serve the people the way that a county seat should serve people. If you look at Greensboro, you look at Raleigh, you look at Charlotte, all county seats, they continue to have an election that is different from the date that the November election is held. And I think that this is very unfortunate that we're looking at this at a time when North Carolina's election laws, and specifically the voter ID law, is in the court system being reviewed. And in my opinion, the voter ID laws keep a lot of blacks from being able to exercise their right to vote. So Mayor, just wanted to make these comments, and I'm sorry that P. Bazemore has passed on. I'm sorry that John Crowder has passed on because they were big supporters of not changing this election to a November date when they were living back in 2009 when we last considered it. Thank you, Mayor.
Anyone? Yes.
Yeah, over the past 2 weeks, I talked to a lot of people about the possibility of us changing the date of the election, and I did get mixed reviews, but the majority of people that I talked to thought that that will make their vote less significant. because they went back and looked at the number of people in different precincts and the number of registered voters, and I know registering is your choice, but a lot of people seem to think that that will make their vote look warm.
Okay. Any other comments? Okay, hearing none, of course, we don't vote on this tonight anyway, so, but your comments are well received. Anything else? We're going down to the council. Have anything else before I go to public comment period?
Are you closing the hearing?
You what?
Closing the hearing, is that right, Bridget? We need to close the hearing.
You already. Mayor, I think for this purpose, you may want to ask for a vote to close the hearing in this particular case.
Okay, do I have a vote? All in favor of closing the
Actually, you
hearing?
need a motion and then a second.
So moved.
I have a motion, a second. All in favor? We're closing the hearing, then. Okay, very good.
Thank
All
you,
right,
sir.
public comment period. Anyone here who would like to make any comments or speak to the council about anything? I'd like to recognize our school board member here. We're glad to have you here tonight, and welcome. Come back anytime you can. Mr. Jordan, glad to have you here, sir. If here are no comments, at this time I'll call for a motion to adjourn.
Mayor,
Yes, sir.
I move that we go into closed session pursuant to North Carolina GS Section 143, 318.11A, 6, to consider performance of an individual public official or employee.
Okay.
Make that motion.
Have a motion, have a second?
Second.
All in favor? Any opposed? Hearing none, we'll go into closed session.
And we'll excuse everybody.